CPF Life versus property. One gives guaranteed income, the other one gives control and growth. But if you get it wrong, your retirement could collapse. Most people think CPF Life is just a payout and that property is easy passive income. But very few understand what really happens when you reach 55, how CPF locks up your savings, or how property comes with hidden costs you didn't plan for. Hi, I'm Caleb, a real estate agent in Singapore, and I've helped dozens of clients figure out how to stretch their money after selling their homes. In this video, I'm going to break down both CPF Life and property side by side with real life numbers, retirement scenarios, and you'll see what CPF Life actually gives you and takes away, and how to compare both options side by side using real examples. Let's get into it. CPF Life versus property. What is the better retirement plan? So let's talk about CPF Life first. CPF Life, once 55, OA and SA will form the RA. Meaning to say at 65, we can use this RA money to buy an annuity plan. So this plan is called a CPF Life. It gives you monthly payout for life based on how much your RA have. So if your RA only have 60,000, then you'll calculate how much money you have. There is a calculator in the CPF website you can use to tabulate it out. What is CPF Life? It basically pools money with many others people who also join these programs, and in return, CPF guarantees that you get an income till you pass on. So if your FRS is at 213k at 55 years old, meaning your RA have 213k, which is the full retirement sum, over 10 years it will compound to 315k at 4% interest rate. This 315k will be used to buy a CPF Life. So eventually it will give you about $1,700 in monthly income. So is CPF Life good? So it's good because you don't need to manage anything, don't need to manage any property. It gives you as an income all the way. So you don't need to worry about tenant, there's no worry about market crash, and it pays you every single month. However, you need to take note that this money, actually $1,700, it comes from your own savings that you have built up. So effectively, you're drawing down on your own savings that you have built up all these years. So there is no way for you to opt out unless you have less than 60k in your RA account. So the downside of it is that you can't encash it out lump sum. If you need it for medical emergency, or if your daughter wants to go overseas to study, you cannot cash out lump sum for this CPF Life that you have enrolled into. Your money don't grow, meaning to say once the money is put inside the CPF Life interest pool, all the interest that you would have gotten will be inside the pooled amount that CPF will get eventually. And at the end of the day, once you pass on, the remainder money will be returned to your beneficiary. So imagine you have 315k at the start, and over the next 20 years, you have received about 200k already. So the remainder 115k will be given back to your beneficiaries. So effectively, you are drawing down on your own savings to survive. If this video helped you think more clearly about CPF and property for retirement, hit that like and subscribe button for weekly insights backed by real numbers, not fluff. So right now, let's talk about property. Property, some people buy property for rental income. For example, I have one unit that was selling previously. It was a unit at Sea Hill and was selling at 805k. You get about $3,500 per month in rental income. So effectively, that works out to be a 5.2% rental yield, which is quite a good, decent rental yield that you can get at the end of the day. Sounds good, right? But many forget the cost in renting out, because at the end of the day, $3,500 is just the gross rental income. You still have to deduct many things like property tax, $180 a month, condo maintenance fee, that's about $300 a month, income tax about $190 a month, and vacancies of $145, repairs, agent's commission about $158 a month. So all in all, your actual net income is about $2,700, because you have to minus out all these expenses that you would have paid. Many forget the cost of renting out because they are assuming that the unit is always rented, but that's not always the case, because sometimes your tenants may not pay on time, sometimes there is delay, sometimes there is disputes at the end of the day, or sometimes tenants run away, sometimes the house property condition might not be in a tip-top condition for you to rent out immediately. They need to do repainting and so on and so forth.
And what if this is the second property that you are purchasing? You have one for your own stay and you want to buy a second property to rent out. You need to pay ABSD of 20% as of today's recording. And if it's 800,000 property, then that's another $160,000. Of course, the best way is that your wife owns one, you own this property for retirement purposes. Then that is ideal because you don't need to pay this ABSD. And of course, you can try to avoid ABSD by buying under your spouse names or parents' name also. So rental income is possible, but it comes with costs, risks, and responsibilities that you need to deal with at the end of the day also. So there are benefits too, because capital appreciation for property is always what investors is looking for. So that's the beauty of it all. And thus, when you buy a property, you not just buy for rental income, you want to build your net worth as you go along. For example, you bought this property at 45 years old and the tenant has always been paying rental for next 20 years. Then what happens is that at 65, your net worth increased substantially because you do not have any loan anymore. Then what happens is that you now have a property that is fully paid off by your tenant itself. So that's the benefits of it too. So it's good when tenant is paying down your monthly installment and you own an appreciating asset. So that's a benefit of property income. So at the end of the day, you want to compare both sides. CPF Life, you use a capital requirement of about 213,000. As you grow to another 10 years, it becomes 315,000. You get a monthly income of about 1,700 for life. There is no risk at all. There is no involvement also because it is getting money straight from the whole CPF Life. For property, you have to pay to buy the property. After you have expenses and stuff like remainder about $2,700, you still have some risk because you're not sure whether the market can go up, can go down, rental can go down, rental can go up as well. There's a lot of involvement involved to find new tenants, to clean up the place, to do aircon servicing, and so on and so forth. Okay, so at the end of the day, CPF Life gives you guaranteed income. You don't need to leave a finger, but only starts at 65. But you're drawing down on your own savings, leaving little to no balance for your beneficiary. Rental property can give you long-term income without reducing the property value, but comes at the cost of managing the property. So when you compare liquidity, some people say that with property I can sell and get a lump sum out. They are not wrong as well. But CPF Life is not liquid. Once you opt in, you buy the package of the CPF annuity, you cannot withdraw it out anymore. There's no option for you to do so. But property isn't instantly liquid. You still need to sell and wait 3 to 4 months for you to get the lump sum out. But you still can get money out from property in terms of the full value of the property itself. But you always need a liquidity buffer sometimes to access for emergencies, medical treatments, and so on and so forth. That could be put inside a savings accounts, fixed deposits. Ideally, take up 12 to 24 months of your expenses that you set aside. So in summary, CPF Life works out better if you want hassle-free approach. Drain your savings till you pass on. Like for example, you are single, there is no beneficiary you want to pass it down to, or no dependents that is depending on you. However, leaving you possibility of no lump sum cash if you need at the end of the day. So property works good if you want to leave behind an asset that always produces an income for your beneficiary, because this property can last through many different names and generations as well. So however, you still need to manage the property and face different investment risks such as rental falling, capital appreciation or depreciation as well.
And let me know in the comments below, would you rather have guaranteed income with no effort or potentially higher returns with property and risk? I want to hear your take. Now, here's the thing. Before you rush to use your CPF to buy a property, you need to understand something most people overlook. CPF isn't just your money, it's tied up in rules, refunds, and retirement limit. And if you use it wrong, you could lose liquidity, forfeit flexibility, and even pay back more than you expected. So if you're thinking of using CPF to buy a property, watch this next video. Think twice before using CPF for property. I break down CPF refunds, minimum sums, issues, and how using too much CPF might hurt your long-term plans. Click on that video now and let's make sure your retirement strategy is airtight.